Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's tutorial, we're going to make this very pretty slouchy beanie. And you'll notice as these pictures roll on by that there are different color pom-poms in each one of these beanies. And I also turned it the other way around so you could see the other side. I used Yarnspiration's Bernat Wavelength yarn in the color Pearl. This is the first time I've used it in my machine. It's a bulky 5, and if we go a little bit slower, it works beautifully, and it is so worth the effort and the extra time because it is such a gorgeous yarn. And I also used Lion Brand Pound of Love yarn in the color Thistle, and that's the purplish one that you see there. So friends, for the removable pom-poms, I used Pom-kins. I mention that a lot in my videos because it's one of my favorite things, as you know. I will put the link to in the description box below the video so you can check that out as well. And for this video, I also use my 48 needle Sentro, and I love it. It's made this beanie just a little bit extra wider, and that's what happens when you use 48 needles versus 46 Addi. It does make quite a bit of a difference, so I'm always surprised by that. But you can choose whichever machine that you like and follow along on the same pattern. So here it is without the pom-poms, and it looks great that way too. So you really have a lot of different choices for this beanie. Once you have your supplies, let's get going. But before we do so, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and help me out in that way. Take care, friends, and we'll see you in the next clip. All right, so we are going to begin. We're going to start with a cast on. I'm going to take my solid color because this is going to be the inside of my beanie, and I want to save the nice, beautiful yarn that costs more, the Bernat Wavelengths, for the outside, okay? So we're going to take, and we're going to combine both of these colors for the outside, but we're going to take our solid color, we're going to cast on in front of that first white, behind that next pink, in front, behind. I always make the white one my first, as you can see on my machine, and we're going to alternate back and forth just like this, not putting any extra tension on our cast on yarn and not letting it tangle around objects that are around you. And it should be in behind that last pink needle. Okay, then we're going to continue our cast on by going around once. So I'm going to go slowly, making sure that those loops drop down over those pink teeth before that needle picks it up and takes it down. My machine loves this yarn, so I'm not anticipating any problems. Before I get to the beginning, I'm going to set my row counter to 0. You see that I take a black permanent marker and I mark the needle between the last pink and the first white. Now this white is actually number 48 when you look at the numbers here, but I like it to be the first one. And this dries really, really fast, so I'll just show you what I do. Just take it and I color it. That way I always know that the end of the row or the beginning of the row, however you look at it, is coming around. Okay, so now that we are at the beginning, our counter is going to start counting as soon as that magnet passes by. And we are going to knit for 50 rows. Okay, so this is the inside of our hat, not including the brim, and we're going to knit for 50 rows. I always do a longer hat. I know there's lots of tutorials on YouTube, and there's always differing lengths of hat. Now, friends, if you're new, the length does not make your hat bigger in circumference around your head. It makes it longer. So for me, I like a longer, now my yarn is all tangled. I like a longer beanie because I like a wide brim. So that makes a difference. That's why for me, I do 140 rows. You might want to do 130. I see some people even do 120. I have no clue how that fits in that old head in length, but apparently it does. Maybe the brim is very, very, very narrow. Okay, so I do 140 rows in total for my beanies. And then I have a nice wide brim. So you're going to keep going on this first section, which is the inside body of the beanie, and we're going to do 50 rows. Keep going, friends. I'll see you when I get to row 50. just a quick pop on for you if you're new. I hold my yarn between my two fingers like this. When it's way down below there, there's no extra tension that comes on it. Just a very, well, maybe just a very, very, very limited amount. If you want a tighter tension, go up to the first knuckles. I like to hold it in my hand rather than in a tensioner because then I can feel if there's any knots coming in my yarn, or I can feel if it's tugging from the ball and I need to loosen it, or I can feel if it's at the end of the yarn ball and I don't miss it and have it start knitting without any yarn. And yeah, I just like the control, and that's generally how I knit most of my projects. A lot of times sometimes I do use a tensioner, but not very often. So that is how I knit, and that's just a little suggestion for you if you're new. Okay, so keep going, and I'll see you at row 50. All right, so this is going to be 49. Sorry, my handle needs to have a little bit of grease. It's a little squeaky. And 50. All right, and so now that I have done 50 rows, I have my last pink and my first white in line with my yarn feeder. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut my yarn tail. I'm going to put that between the last pink and the first white. Again, I'm using my white as my first needle, not my last. So you just put your yarn tail between your last and your first needle. Then we're going to take our other color and we're going to pop it into our yarn guide. I'm going to do a jogless join, which we will tie off at the end of our project when we take it off the machine. And I'm going to put it around, so here's between those two needles. I'm going to put it to the right and around that last needle. Okay, then we're going to knit 4 needles. We're going to help these down under if they needed to be, this one here. And then we're going to take both ends of our working yarn and we're going to pull. And if you back this up a few seconds and you just look at what happened here, it tightens up your tension and makes it a lot nicer. I'm going to just cut these off a little bit shorter. Makes it a lot nicer when your project is off your machine. Your tension here is the same as the tension on the rest of your project. Otherwise, it's loopy at the beginning, okay? So that's my practice that I always do. And from here, our counter says 50. We're going to go till it says 90. That will be the inside and the outside of our brim. Okay, so we're going to do 40 rows of this color. It's a little bit thicker yarn, so I'm going to go a little bit slower. Always find the tension that your yarn needs and the speed that your machine needs to go in order for it to work. I feel it getting a little tight there now that it's connecting with its own. And so I realize that for this one, I have to go a little bit slower. I can tell that already because you can feel the pull in it. That's why I like to hold it with my hands. Okay, I can feel that it's a little bit tighter. And I want to make sure that as this needle passes this yarn guide, that loop goes down over the pink teeth. Okay, if it does not, you will get a tucked stitch. So you want to be watching in this area the whole time you're knitting when you're using a yarn that's a little bit difficult for your machine. This one's not difficult, it's just a little bit thicker. And so see, there's a tuck stitch, but I never made, this one didn't go past, so I didn't go far enough that I can't go back and push it down over the teeth and then continue going. And this one's going to happen too. I'm going to put my weights on right away. I have claw weights. You can get them on Amazon. And they're not cheap, but you can use whatever weights that you have. And you take those weights, and they're across the room, so I have to get them in a second. You take those weights and you just put them around your work, and it helps to push this down and keep those needles down over the pink teeth as the needle drops down. Here we go. I went and got them. So they've got little pointy teeth there, and you're just going to pop it underneath here into your stitches and let it hang. And you're going to go around your machine and place them. And I use them until I have my project long enough that I can roll it up into a donut, and then I don't typically use them. I take them off and I let the weight of the donut be my weight that I need. So I'm going to keep going just at a nice, even, slow pace. And you know what, friends? Not everything has to be done at a crazy fast pace. Sometimes if you want to use beautiful yarn that may not be easily received by your machine. It's not hard on the machine, but it's just not one of the ones. It's not like this purple one that we use that you can just go at a really good speed. Sometimes you have to go slower. but the end result is worth every second that it takes longer. Okay, so if you're like me, you don't mind that kind of thing. You just want to take your time and you want to have a beautiful finished project. Okay, so I'm going to go until my counter says 90 rows. So that's 40 rows of this color. That will be my inside and my outside brim. And when I get a little farther down, I wouldn't have done it yet, but because I'm going off camera right away, you just pick these up and you move them up a little bit higher. Like that, okay? When my project starts to touch the table, I will come back for those of you who are new and show you what we can do, okay? If you're not new, keep going till your counter says 90 rows. All right, so I have taken the weights off. My project is starting to touch the table, and you don't want that to happen because if you keep knitting when it's like that, it'll push up on your work here and risk dropping off a loop off of these little teeth and dropping a row. So what we do is we take our piece and we roll it on itself into a donut. And what that does is it prevents this from buckling up and dropping a loop off these teeth, but it also provides some tension, some tighter tension around our barrel that helps those loops stay down. So that's what you're going to do. And every 10 or 15 rows or so, you just keep rolling it. So I'm going to keep going. I'm still having a little bit of trouble with this, but not that often. Another thing, because you don't need to put any extra tension on this, you can put your hands in here and just guide it down like this as you knit. It's a very easy thing to do, and it helps you to just be able to keep your handle going at a regular speed and without stopping. I'm just pushing down a little bit with my hands, and again, it's because I don't need any extra tension on this yarn. Just the tension that's coming out of the ball is all that's needed. All right, so I'm almost, well, I've got another 20 rows to go, but I'll see you when I get to row 90. I have finished my 40 rows of brim, which took me to row 90 on my counter. Now, so if we have 40 rows of brim, we know that when we roll it, when our beanie is in half and we fold that brim up, we have 20 row thickness of a brim. So now the first 20 rows on the outside of our brim, we're going to just keep doing with this color. It's going to be covered by the brim anyways, but we're going to do 40 rows. Or pardon me, we're going to do another 20 rows of this color. So we're going to go till we get to row 110, and then we will begin some patterning, okay? So for the last part of the beanie, then we're going to do some patterning. So do another 20 rows of this same color till you get to row 110. All right, so we are on row 110. And so that means that now we are going to see our patterning. So we need 30 more rows. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the same color. So you're going to knit another 4 rows. So go until you get to 114. So 4 rows of this main color. This is what we're going to start seeing above the brim. I have my 4 rows done, which means I'm at row 114 on my counter. I'm going to cut my yarn, place it in the middle between the last pink and the first white. Now I could put my yarn ball into the center and work my new color and then just keep switching back and forth, but I want a jogless join on my patterning. So we're going to then take our second color. So that's why I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to pop that into that center, into the same space, then back to the right around that last pink needle to the other side of that next pink needle. We're going to knit 4 needles, and we're going to then help this down over the dividers and pull on both ends of our working yarn to snug up that tension. We're going to just cut those off a little bit shorter, and we're going to knit 2 rows. So just 2 rows till you get to 116. This one you need to have a little bit of tension on because it knits up nicer, okay? So you're gonna have to go really slow, making sure those loops from the previous row drop down over the pink teeth. So far, so good. This handle's a little sticky. Before I use this machine again, I'm gonna take the handle, that little pink thing off the top. I've never done it before, but I'm gonna just take it off. I'm gonna put some white lithium grease in there, and it'll help it from being a little bit stickier. I'm sure it'll help it from being so sticky, okay? So there's my 2 rows that I did in the purple. I'm gonna help that down. I'm gonna cut this off. Pop that into the center. Take my other yarn. Pop that into the center. Back around to the other side of that last needle. Knit 4 needles. Let's fix the tension. Gonna cut those off a little bit even. And we're gonna knit 3 rows. So till your counter is 119. This is 1. You'll see there's the purple loops are having no problem dropping down. This is 2. And 3. I'm gonna get some slack out of my yarn ball and I'll finish this row. Okay, so we're gonna cut that yarn tail, pop that into the center between the last pink and the first white. We're gonna grab our purple again. And we're gonna do the jogless join behind that first, or that last needle. Knit 4 needles, help that down, give that a little snug, and you're going to knit 2 rows, 120 and 121. There we go. I see that black divider coming around. I'm going to stop it in front of my yarn guide. There we go. I've got 2 rows of that purple color done. I'm going to put that between the last pink and the first white, and I'm going to mark that off on my tally sheet. I'm going to now go ahead and change back to this color, and we're going to do 4 rows. So again, you're going to knit the first 4 needles, 4 or 5. Pop those down under the dividers, give it a tug from both ends, drop it into the center. We're going to proceed until row 125. So we're going to knit 4 rows of this color. All right, friends, we just finished row 125 and we have 15 rows left. I went and had lunch after this section, and when I came back down I pressed the silver button twice, and so now it reset to 0. Really I would have just had to press it once to turn it on, and when the magnet caught up to the side of it, it would have reset it, or it would have put it where it was at, but that's okay. We only have 15 rows left, so I'm going to cut off this main color, pop it into the center. I'm going to grab my purple. We're going to put it in there. We are going to do a jogless join, so back around that last needle, knit 4 needles, and I hope that you are jotting down these row counts as I give them to you, because I'm doing every section so that you have an opportunity to write them down, and then you'll be able to make your beanie again by looking at your pattern. Okay, so now we are going to knit 2 rows. So row 126 and row 127. Those were nice to me. And row 127. We have some color changes to tie off at the end, but you know what? It doesn't take that long. So, and it's fun doing jogless join tightenings. I love doing that. It's so much fun. Okay, so we did 2 rows for that. That's row 127. We're going to take our neutral color again, And we're going to do 3 rows. 128, 129, and 130. Again, always start with your first 4 needles. And drop down there, little buddy. This is 1. And this is 2, and we're going to do 3 rows. Oh, look how nice it's being. Maybe it needed a break. And 1 more. When I see the black divider coming around, I'm going to pop it in front of my yarn feeder, just like that. We are going to cut off our tail, pop it into the center. And we are going to take our purple color again. We are going to do rows 131 and 132. So 2 rows of this purple. And once you have these 2 rows of purple done, you are going to do 4 rows of the other color, of this main color here, taking you to row 136. Okay, so do 2 rows of purple, then do 4 rows of this main color here. Okay, so once you have that done, I will meet you back. Coming up to the end of row 4 of this color. I really had no issues at all. There we go. I'm going to cut off that tail. And we're on the final stretch, friends. 2 more colors. We're going to do our purple again. This time, we're going to do 2 rows. So 4 needles. There we go. A quick 2 rows. This should take you to row 138. Oh, these 2 colors are so gorgeous together. All right, we're going to cut it off again, and we're going to do 2 rows of our other color. All right. Pop that out. Pop that in. Jogless join. Knit 4 needles. Pop those down. Tighten it. And I'm going to only knit 2 rows of this color, taking me to row 140. Look how nice it's working now, because there's so much weight on the donut. See, this yarn works great in the machine. There we go. Row 140. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take a yarn tail that goes the width circumference of your barrel twice, 1.5 to 2 times, and then we're going to cut that off. Put this in between the last pink and the first white, because we still have to knit these 2. We are going to grab our Sentro needle. Oops, I'm going to cut that little frayed part off because it's going to have a hard time going through the stitches. And then we're going to hold this so we have some tension on it. We're going to rotate our barrel all the way around, not till the black, just until the black comes about 3 needles on this side of our yarn guide. So let me just see, this needle's popping up, this one's popping up, this one's popping up. We don't want this. We only have 1 more between this stitch and the one that we're going to take off. So this needle is still down, so we have to remove our stitch while it's still down. Okay, if we went any further, that needle would push that loop off. So this one's coming up. If I go any further, this needle is going to come up like this one and push that loop off, and we'll drop a row. So make sure you don't go too far. And then you're going to just take off your loops all the way around this beautiful machine. There we go. And I'm going to turn it some more. Remove. Oops. There we go. And friends, I'm going to do that all the way around until I have them all off. We have our piece off the machine, and we're going to unroll it. This yarn, you guys, it's like luxurious. That's how gorgeous it is. And we're going to stretch and stretch lengthwise as well, widthwise and lengthwise. Then we're going to actually turn it inside out because we have to do all those jogless joins. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the bottom here, to the first one. And you'll see that when we knit in the round, every time you go around, your row goes up a row. Okay, so that's why these two lines are not meeting. You can then, now that we've done the jogless join, you're going to take both of your strands, you're going to carefully pull them apart from each other, away from each other. And then you see how that just brought this one kind of down in line with this one. When it's on the other side, you'll see that there is no jog up in color. And then you're going to tie this one. You're not going to tie the first loop too tight. You're just going to tie it to meet the beanie, because you don't want to pull so tight that you tighten this again. And the second one you'll tighten. Then you cut these off a little bit shorter. That's one way of doing it. Okay, let's go down to this other section. Let's get these all out of the way, except for the first two that we're working on. I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. We'll do this first way one more time with you. Okay, so we're going to take these two yarn tails and we're going to pull them apart. You will know by looking at it and watching it when it's time to stop. You know, there's some give in it, and then once it's in its place, you all of a sudden feel a little jolt. So it's just a matter of practice and the feel of it, and you'll get it no problem. We're going to cut that one off. I'm going to do it one more time the same way with the next two. Okay, so I'm going to take them, and you can see that if I was to have it this way, they cross over each other. You want to make sure that there's like a little hole in the center of them. Then you have them going the right direction, and you're going to lightly pull until you see it come together. Then you're going to tie it. Tie that second one tight, cut them off. Here's the second way. Here's where we want to tighten. I'm going to put my fingers above and below, and I'm going to press down on my project just to hold it in place, and I'm going to pull up. You heard that, I'm sure. And it stops when it's in its rightful place. It seems a little bit harsh, but it's not. It's doing the job. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the other side, of course, when we're finished. Cut that off. You can choose which is your favorite way. I typically do it this way more often, to be honest with you, because listen for that. It just sounds nice. I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. That's so crazy. But you know what? We crafters get a little kick out of the littlest things, don't we? So I'm going to tie that off. And we're going to go on to the next one. Tie it off. And let's do it the opposite way for this one, the other way. And we're going to work these all the way up, making sure that you do not miss one, because then once your beanie is assembled, if you've missed one, it's going to be very loose and could come apart, okay? So you want to push these up to the top so that you can see exactly what you're doing. Don't push it so hard that it gathers. Cut it off. Push those ones out of the way so you don't miss one. Tie it off. And I'm going to do these for the last two, and I'll meet you back. Let's see the beauty. Let's turn it around. Make sure, again, that you've got every one of them done. Turn this the right side out, and let's take a look. This is wanting me to tighten it already. Here's our join right in here. This stitch is a little long for some reason, but you don't, and this one I tightened a little too tight. But there you go. You don't see the jog in your join when you do it this way. So it makes for a much, much nicer finish, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're going to take that top and we are going to cinch it. So what you're going to do is put your hand in there and smooth out this top. We're not going to cinch it all the way because if you watch any of my videos, you know that I use cinch guides so that I can do a removable. What is this? Well, it's coming out of both stitches. So this must have been one of the loops. You know how I tell you to put it down under, because at the beginning, mind you, this isn't really, yeah, it is the beginning, to put it down under and then pull it tight so that you have a tighter tension. This one got missed, obviously, but I'm going to tuck that loop in there, and I'm going to take my cinch guide. If you order Pom-kins, and I'll have the link in the description box below, and they are for removable pom-poms. I'll show you how I use them, but you need to have the width guide right. So this, they send you a cinch guide with it as well, and you just pop that in there. And you know what, then you can interchange your pom-poms, or you can wear it without the pom-pom, and that hole is just the perfect size. It's not too big and no one will notice. So I'm going to take that, put that on my needle, and with that Pom-kin cinch guide in there, I'm going to go around that first row of stitches, and I'm going to pull. If you don't have the cinch guide but you have the Pom-kins, because if you ordered them early when they first started, they didn't have the cinch guides quite yet. Now they do. Then just use a pen. The width of a pen. It's a little bit wider than that. And I'm going around the first layer, first row, all the way around my cinch guide. Just like that, and pulling a little bit more, I think. There's the beginning. I'm going to go past it just a little bit. And pull, and then I'm going to grab two or three strands. I'm going to knot it off. Push that knot down with my thumb. Then I'm going to just let go of that. Take that out, and see there's a beautiful size hole. And once on your head, nobody sees it if you don't have a pom-pom in there, okay? And I'm going to pop my needle onto this yarn strand again. Put your hand in the other end and go up to the top. You're going to grab the point of that needle with your hand so that it doesn't snag the inside of your work. You're going to pinch the top, and you're going to fold this inside of each other right in half, just like that. This is the inside of our beanie, but again, it's reversible, so you can wear it either way, but for the intent of this video, this is the inside of the hat. We're going to now find that end, and we're going to cinch this side up. Making sure, friends, every time you cinch it tighter and tighter, that you play with the end so that it's all smooth. Make sure that tail from that other end is out. This is one of my color change tails. Tuck that in there. I'm going to pop my cinch guide into there as well. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this on my needle, I'm going to reinforce around that top row of stitches, just like I did on the other side. I've made it around, I tied off in my knot. Now I can remove my cinch guide. Both of those holes are the same size. Now you're going to just go into your beanie, and you're just going to smooth it out so that it's all lined up properly. Okay, you're going to take these two yarn tails, you're going to take the one that's on the inside, and you're going to pull it up really close to the outside one. Now here's where the deal goes. You're going to take your cinch guide, you're going to pop it back into there, into both of them. There we go. Work it with your hand on the other side, because you want these two strands to be tied on the same side. If they're crossing each other, then when you go to put your Pom-kin in, there's gonna be a yarn tail in the way there. So I pop that back in, and I haven't done this on all my videos. Actually, this is the first one that I've popped it back in, because hey, you learn as you go, right? And then you tie it, and then you take those two yarn strands. We want to make sure they're out of the way of our Pom-kin. I'm going to put those back onto my yarn tail, or onto my yarn needle. And while that Pom-kin is in there, I'm going to just go around and hide my tails under the top row. Rather than hide it into the work and then have it come out and get in the way of the Pom-kin, I'm going to hide it around the edge, just like this. Get it right out of the way. We'll go a little further. And now we'll go back. Then those tails are out of my way. I do not have to worry about them getting snagged on the pumpkin as we put our pom-pom in. And it's perfect. Let me get under there. Come on, you. Okay, pull through. It's nice and snug. Cut it off. Take out your cinch guide. Now again, you can have your hat this way, which is not how we've made it to go, but it works that way too. Or you can pop it this way. Smooth it out. And roll up your brim. Isn't that beautiful? These colors just complement each other so well. And you see the gradual lightening of the main color one that we used, and it's just beautiful. All right, friends, so I'm choosing my biggest clover pom-pom maker. It's got an 85 on the back of it, and I wrapped one side already. I'm wrapping the other side to show you what I'm doing. I'm predominantly wrapping it with this color. Okay, and this is what I did on the other half. Just like this. So if you have the clover pom-pom maker and you want your pom-pom to look like what mine is going to look like, or what it looks like, this is what you do. Otherwise, you make your pom-pom your favorite way, or use the faux fur pom-poms. Totally up to you. Now the goal of this clover maker is to fill your pom-pom side so that you get almost a flat edge there instead of that concave piece. I'm going to go almost to that point with this yarn. Very quickly wrapping it around. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think that'll be it for me. Let's see. Put my hand there, maybe one more. There we go. Oops, I'm not gonna close it. We're gonna open it. We're gonna cut off this color, and we're gonna grab our purple. We're gonna add it. Doesn't matter where your yarn end falls because you trim it up after anyways. And then I'm gonna just wrap it around the outside, just like this. I can still see some of the primary color underneath there. I just want a very light hint of purple. So wrap, 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 wrap. Doesn't matter if it goes over there actually, because that gets fixed too, but if you can, just pop it back down. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna see if that looks about even. I think it's close enough. I'm gonna shut that. I'm gonna cut this one, just like that. Then friends, what you're gonna do is you're going to take your scissors and you're gonna cut up the center here. Go right into that little slot and cut up the center. And go around to the other side. I've cut off a piece of yarn long enough that I can double it like this, and there's a loop on one end and 2 cut ends on the other side. I'm going to take this and put it down just like that in through the center, bring it around to the other side. I'm going to take that loop and I'm going to pull those yarn strands through the loop. See what I've done? Then I'm going to pull and turn, pull and turn, and it tightens it around those fibers that are on the inside and around that needle. Don't pull so tight that you snap it, but there we go, that's good. Then I'm going to take both of these strands again and I'm going to go up to the other side, just like that, and we're going to tie a knot. 1 and 2, just like so. Okay, this is too long, we don't need it that long. Leave a length because we still have to put it on our Pom-kin, but you don't need it that long. And then open your sides, just like so. Pull it apart, pop this back together, shut it, put it aside, give this a good shake, and then we're going to trim it up. Okay, so I'm going to just take my scissors, and I usually do this over the garbage, and I'm going to just trim it into a perfect shaped pom-pom. Okay, so take your time doing that. Shake it over the garbage. Go up and around. I do quite a bit of trimming, friends, because I love a perfect looking pom-pom. I don't like a messy pom-pom. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it over the garbage. I just did that to start it for you. But I'm going to shake that over the garbage, and I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to continue giving this a bit of a haircut just to round it off. There you go, peeps. We've got a beautiful pom-pom. Oh, I see a couple stragglers there that I missed. Gotcha. Can't leave those there. Okay, so we've got a beautiful pom-pom with touches of purple in it. I like how that looks. Look, reminds me of a baseball. If you got a baseball fan child, make a pom-pom like this in their favorite baseball colors, because doesn't this look like a baseball? Anyways, just tell me my things. You're going to take your pumpkin. Here we go. We're going to put it in between those two strands. You're going to make one tie, just like that, to get it nice and close to the pom-pom. Then you're going to take the one end, and you're going to wrap it around in one direction and do it twice. Pop that down into the middle. Then you're going to take the other strand and you're going to wrap it the other way. So just like that. Oops, this way. Just like that. So that you have this strand on one side of the pumpkin and this on the other. You can see, let me put those fibers down. You can see how that is, okay? So they're on opposite sides. Push these together. Sliding on my little table that's underneath. Then take these two and tie a firm knot. One. You can get those fibers out of the way or leave them, it really doesn't matter. Two. And I do 3 for this project. Pop your tails right back onto your needle. And take them up through the center of that pom-pom, or as close that you can get. Okay, there we go. And up to the top. Pull them up. Now that I've squished my fibers, I want to shake them and cut them off to the right size. And there you go. You've got a beautiful pom-pom that's ready to be inserted into your beanie. So here is my beanie with a pom-pom that I made with just this yarn, okay? I didn't add any purple at all. I just used that yarn, let it change colors, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. So then all you got to do is put your hands inside. You got to squeeze the pumpkin, just like that, and push it out through the center that you made. Look at that. And then here's one that I made that's just purple, one color. You squeeze this, and it's hard to hold because it wants to spring back, but that's awesome because that's what holds it inside. Pop it inside that little hole, and if you put it upside down, it helps you to push on it so that you can get that in there. And then there you go. That's what it looks like. And this is a purple pumpkin. Pom-pom, using the pumpkin. You guys, I love the purple on there too. I think it's, oh, I love that. Now let's try the other one. This is my favorite so far. Let's try the other one. I'm going to take this out. This is the one I think I might display it with. Well, you will have seen because it's at the front of the video, and it was the video that you clicked on, okay? But I'm not at that process yet. And here's the other one. I'm not at that part in the process yet. Pop that in. See how easy they are to pop? Now, I'll be honest, I had to work with it a little bit at first to get the first one in. There it is, because I had tied it a little bit too tight, but you know, that comes with, you'll figure that out as you go along too, okay? There we go. Love that one too. All different looks, but so pretty. And you know what the thing is you can take a faux fur pom-pom as well. So the options are really so many. And the thing is you can wear it without as well. But I'm going to tell you one more thing before I put that other show you how to do that other pom-pom. If you fold this brim down, because this yarn is so rich looking, so beautiful, wear this as a slouchy beanie without a brim, and it is absolutely, like, isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? Stick a pom-pom on there. My goodness, you guys, it's perfect. Okay, and then here's the other side. If you wanted to wear a solid one, put your little pom-pom in there. Oh, so pretty. Put that pom-pom. Put that pom-pom. So many options. And you know how wide to fold this up because your break is at the color change. So for these faux fur ones, you stick your finger in that. I don't know if I have another Pom-kin close by. Let's see, do I or don't I? I don't. But what you do, and I'm shaking it like a maniac because look how much nicer that looks. Blow dry it for 10 or 15 seconds on high heat and it's even nicer. But all you do is you take your Pom-kin and you wrap it around, you wrap this elastic around it twice. And that's how you hold your faux fur pom-pom onto the Pom-kin as well. But even that's beautiful. Love it. Put this one back in. So you squeeze it, pop it in, turn it upside down so that you can push on it, then bring it up, and there you go. Our Slouchy Beanie is complete. Now guys, if you make one, please post it in a Facebook group somewhere and tag me, Shelley Weeb. Don't tag Koala Knits and Knacks, tag Shelley Weeb. And if I'm in that group, I'll get a notification and be able to see it. I would love to see your color choices that you make. I'm definitely going to get more of this yarn in different colors because I think it's just so beautiful. But I would love to see your makes. So thanks again for joining me. I always appreciate spending time with you. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And friends, we'll see you in the next tutorial. Take care and have a blessed day.